First two drives for Green Bay last night up in the Pacific Northwest. They ate up 10 minutes of clock. They took a lead. Game was over. And with the Lions, now Montgomery may not play for the rest of the year, the running back. They're losing multiple defensive players. I think Green Bay is the biggest obstacle for the Philadelphia Eagles to get to the Super Bowl. If you did any reseeding, I'd do Philly 1 and Green Bay 2. Detroit's falling apart. The Rams feel like they're one more draft away. The Vikings, Sam Darnold's never been to the playoffs. I find the Packers so easy to root for. They're such a smart, well-run business. Youngest team in the league. They develop quarterbacks better than any organization in the history of the National Football League. There's no crazy owner. You get incredibly high efficiency and virtually no ego. The Josh Jacobs move is just so Green Bay. Like everybody a year ago was like, stay away from running backs. And Green Bay said, no, we're going to go get Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. And we like Aaron Jones, but we think he has peaked, and we want a power running back, which is obviously so they're less reliant on Jordan Love, who they love and they've developed, to throw 30 times a game. So now Jordan Love can throw when he wants to throw, not absolutely has to throw. So the Josh Jacobs move, it's so smart. It's so Green Bay. It's not that they don't love Jordan Love, but the Packers never put their quarterbacks in position to fail. They always hire offensive coaches. You can never, let's be honest about it. They always protect their quarterbacks. Second fewest sacks allowed in the NFL, Jordan Love. They just have figured this league out. And you can say Favre only got one ring and Aaron Rodgers only got one ring. You know what? Go ask Buffalo. You'll take one ring. Go ask Minnesota, that's had many good teams. So, and I just look at Detroit falling apart and the Rams being still a year away, in my opinion. They need another draft, a tackle, a corner, a perimeter receiver, maybe more depth at the linebacking core. I think Green Bay's got it all. And again, so much of this league is attrition. Are you healthy when it matters? Isn't it crazy that the Packers may open with a road game in the playoffs? I thought they imposed their will on Seattle, a team that had been playing well, and here was Jordan Love after.
Yeah, I feel really good. I think we're in a really good spot. I think we got to do the same thing we've talked about all season, just take it one game at a time and finish the season off and, be where we want to be for playoffs. But I like where we're at, and we just got to keep figuring out ways to get better, keep pushing each other, and find ways to get these wins to end the season off. But I like where we're at.
Yeah, this was such an awesome game. It felt so college to me. I just want to say off the top, when I saw that catch and that throw from Love to Watson, I literally let out an audible I'm not even gonna do it for y'all because it's embarrassing, but it was it was unbelievable. And I was I actually watched the game right here on this chair on my computer on YouTube TV. And it was one of those things where I'm watching, I have my notes and stuff like that, and I'm organizing all my other notes, but I'm obviously watching this game. Fortunately, it's a standalone game. But you don't know you're going to see a spectacular play, obviously, before it happens. And so it's one of those things where you're just kind of watching. And I'm tired at this point, honestly. I'm a little tired, and I'm watching this game, and it happens. And I just the actual visceral reaction that I had, I was oh my God, that was unbelievable. I rewound it, literally no exaggeration, 10 times. I just kept going back and back and back and back. And I'm that was just amazing. And at that point, I had already had so many notes written down because I already loved how this game unfolded. And this is why I kind of think it felt like college, because you have the Seahawks and home field advantage and we're this loud crowd and let's go. But then the Packers fans took over. They bullied them from the jump. The opening drive, they had quick passes from Love, right? Got him momentum, got him high percentage throws right off the bat. It was hike throw, hike throw, hike throw. But also for gains. It wasn't 2 yards here, 1 yard there. It was actually moving the chains. And then power running with Jacobs. And it was just sent a huge message. It also took the perfect amount of time, because that first drive took 6 minutes. And sometimes when a drive is too fast, yeah, you can stun a crowd if you score within 45 seconds. but it can happen so fast. It's kind of like, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off, where you're kind of like, okay, that was not a good drive, but it was one drive, whatever. We know they're on script. It's fine. And then, and now the benefit of a quick drive is that the offense gets the opposing team gets the ball back right away. And it's like, all right, we're going to answer now. And you kind of have that energy, and the crowd can kind of stay in it. And then you can have the kind of the opposite, where you have a really long drive that can feel good for, obviously, if you're the team driving, but it also kind of lingers in such a way where you're like, it kind of felt hard. Like, yeah, you were able to do it and move the chains, but it still took a really long time. And you're kind of like, all right, is this sustainable? What's the story here? And that's why this was like kind of perfect, because it was 6 minutes. And so it made you feel like, if you're a Seattle fan, it made you feel like uncomfortable. You're like, oh man, they're doing what they want. They're milking the clock. Like they're able to sustain a drive. They're able to kind of do this in different ways. It wasn't reliant on just some big, 75-yard gain or something, right? It wasn't just this like spectacular one play where you're like, all right, that was just blown coverage. Like, that wasn't the situation. So it just sends such an awesome message. And then they score. You have the Packers fans going nuts. And then to start that next drive now for the offense for Seattle, you have the Packers fans, where I'm pretty sure they even mentioned on the broadcast, where they're like, oh my God, they might have to go to a silent count. And it just felt like this college atmosphere where like another team just runs in and says, yeah, you guys think you know what you're doing, but like, we're the top team. And it was awesome to see. I mean, the reliance on Jacobs, especially that first quarter, I think was just, awesome. And then, of course, that touchdown by Dobbs, it was a great throw. And then the way how he just muscled through. Again, it was just like, it was just this mentality of like, we do everything, right? We the Detroit Lions have so much energy behind the belief in them, because we've now gotten to know those guys a little bit longer, just because they've been a little bit, they've been established a little bit longer, and they had Hard Knocks and all of that. And they obviously have like a very loud coach with a very famous now offensive coordinator who is just going to be at the top of the list of every head coaching job. But the Packers are like, yo, we have that brand too. Like, we can do spectacular stuff. We can do amazing play design. And when we need to put our head down and muscle through and bully you, yeah, we are more than capable of doing it. We can win with speed, and we can win with power. We could win with intelligence, and we can win with ferociousness. And this is why I've consistently been really high on this team. And this is the game that I've been waiting to see. This is the game that I'm like, yes, 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 let's go. I even wrote, we are seeing the Green Bay Packers do whatever they want. And it really was. And I love the combination of these quick, decisive throws, the power running, and then having the spectacular throws when you need Jordan Love to do so. That throw to Kraft. Again, I even wrote at the top, safety net. I've been banging on that drum now for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Kraft being that safety net. I'm going to probably have to say this in every single Packers video until it really happens. Like, that is such an underrated aspect of what this Packers team can do, because I think Kraft is awesome. And again, you saw it in that moment when he was in his own end zone, throwing it to the middle of the field, and Kraft just stepping up and making a play. Like, those are the things that Brady relied on Gronk for. Those are the things that Mahomes has relied on Kelsey for. It's not a just luck. That it's not a coincidence that two of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the history of the NFL have had their anchor be a tight end. That's just not a coincidence. It's just not. And so that's why I want to see that relationship continue to build with Kraft, because I think it'll pay dividends, especially in a game when you are like maybe on the road against Philly. It's 2017, 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's cold, right? Like, it's just cold. Some of the deep balls weren't really working. You need a big physical bully play. Throw the ball in the middle of the field. You have Kraft jump up and get it, and it's just like, I think it goes a long way. It really, really does. Jordan Love was 20 for 27, 229 yards, 8.5 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, and a 123 rating. And they were able to rush the ball 34 carries for 140 yards. This was a game. This was a game that you could feel great start to finish. And I know Geno Smith went down, and unfortunately for Geno, but like, that didn't have an effect on this game. The Packers made Geno uncomfortable every step of the way. I almost missed this. I wanted to say this. To start the game, they had 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals for the Packers. And for the Seattle Seahawks, they had 2 third-down sacks and then a defensive, then a third-down red zone interception. I mean, you do that, you're gonna win some games, okay? Third down sacks and red zone third down interceptions. It just doesn't get much better than that. So I just think that the Packers, I don't want to say they're peaking or they're getting good at the right time. I know that's a thing that people say. I don't know how much I believe that. I think that almost is. I might go back on this, but a lot of times that feels more like an illusion than anything, because you can be not playing too well, and then come time playoffs, like, you're just able to be the better, you just prove to be the better team, and you're just playing more consistent, you're healthier, whatever. But I think there is a lot of truth to this feeling of, like, we can and we will. And when you start to play games like this, there is that mentality of we can and we will. And they can get up to the 5th seed, which would help them, as well as going up and playing potentially winning the division. It's obviously you're going to really need the Lions to lose some games, and same thing as the Vikings, and one of those losses for the Lions would need a Vikings win. So I'd have to kind of like do that math to figure out like what exactly, how that exactly needs to happen. So it would be a very specific scenario for the Packers to win the division. So probably unlikely, most likely unlikely. A part of me wants the Packers. I always try to like game the standings here to be like, what matchups do I really want to see? And a part of me really wants to see the Packers stay as the 7th seed, go down to the 7th seed, and then play the Lions first round. Like that I would love. But then that would mean that the Eagles would be the number 1 seed. And then in that phase, then they would have to face the Lions and then the Eagles. And I don't necessarily want that either, but I do want to see that Lions matchup in first round. I just think would be really awesome, really exciting, kind of this revenge factor. Let's go. You beat us twice, try to beat us 3 times. So it's kind of interesting if you try to figure out like where would the Packers be best suited. The 7th seed would probably be the worst, although you can make the argument that if the Lions really are that banged up, then that's actually a great way to put it. The problem is being the bottom seed, then you would then still have to go and face the Eagles. If you get to the 4th or 5th seed, again, if you stay at the 6th or 7th seed, you still kind of run into that problem. You may will kind of be in a situation where you still have to kind of keep playing those top 2 seeds, depending on whether or not that 7th seed ends up winning or not. Where if you're in the 5th seed, then you go 4, 5, and then you should be in decent shape. But again, if the 6th and 7th seed lose, then you still run the risk of having to play those top 2 seeds. But there's just some juicy matchups. Like I want to see the Packers against the Vikings in the playoffs. I want to see the Packers versus the Lions, the Packers versus the, honestly, I want to see the Packers go up against all these teams. So it's just, I think they're just in a great spot. I think they really know their formula and how they want to win and how they want to play. And it sounds so silly to say, but it's just kind of like getting those quick, decisive throws from Jordan Love, getting him settled, balance that out with the run game to do the power running, to muscle up, as well as then letting Jordan Love be his special. And then it's like, again, you have those 3 prongs, and it's just, it's brutal to beat. So you should feel nothing but excitement for this Packers team right now. I don't really have any drawbacks from this game. And so it's just overall very exciting to see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers? Do you trust Green Bay in a crowded NFC race? I guess that's the question. I trust them. I don't even know how that's a question. But let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.